You won't believe how easy and affordable it is to transform your space into a cozy place with just Dollar Tree items. Today's video is part of the Talented Creators collaboration hosted by DIY with Aria and Loli D's Creations. Guest host today is Creating It Myself. Co-host is Grace's neighbor Sharon. For this first project, I'm going to be using a crumpled up piece of aluminum foil and this sand shovel from Dollar Tree. My goal is to give this little shovel a metal look, so I'm going to be placing the aluminum foil and forming it all around the shovel. I secured it on the back with a little bit of hot glue. I also painted the handle of the shovel with some Waverly chalk paint and ink. Now I'm going to be giving it kind of a rough coat and dabbing motion of elephant chalk paint by Waverly. I'm also going to add some of this wood-looking contact paper to the handle. I'm using some antique wax to stain one of these wood pieces from Dollar Tree. These are the wood planks that come in a package of several. Once I have that done, I'm going to use this rub-on transfer, which is also from Dollar Tree, and of course I wasn't thinking, and rub-on transfers do not work over wax. So I had to pivot. I went back and I added some Mod Podge over the top of that, and then went back to try and position the rub-on transfer as it was and apply it that way. That seemed to work, but in the future, I would recommend not trying to use antique wax or any kind of wax before you use a rub-on transfer. I'm going to use a little bit of jute twine and wrap around the stems of these pieces of greenery, because we're going to use this on the shovel as well. Using another piece of jute twine, I'm just going to tie that greenery onto the handle. I decided to drill 2 holes in the top of my welcome home sign and use some jute twine to tie a knot, just so that I could hang it around the handle without it permanently being attached. This way I can change everything with the season. And there we have a cute little door hanger or wall decor piece for under $5. I'd like to take a minute to wish a happy birthday to some of my YouTube friends who have birthdays in August. Happy birthday to Melissa, Aria, and Gwen. One of our projects this month had to include a mirror, so I found this neat mirror at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using some of IOD's molds, and I used resin for this part, but I did use some clay later on. I do like the resin better. I poured enough resin several times so that I could go all the way around this mirror in that little indentation, and then I used Quick and Thick Tight Bond to glue the resin pieces onto the frame, and I used some painter's tape to hold them in place. I did let this dry overnight before I removed that tape. Then I retaped the mirror part so that I would not get any paint onto the mirror, and I used some chalk paint. This is Waverly in ink, and I painted all those little pearls all the way around. Now that the frame is all a consistent black color, I'm going to be using some Rub and Buff and Antique Gold, and I'm going to be using this little brush to brush all the way around the frame, around on top of the pearls, into all the little nooks and crannies that I can, but I do want some of that black showing through because it gives it more of an antique look. Now I can remove the tape and this project is finished. Let me know what you think about this. I wanted to include something for fall in this video, so I decided to use this summer sign from Dollar Tree, but I'm going to be making some changes to it. So I filled in those holes at the top, but I do end up taking that out later when I decide how I want to hang this piece. I'm going to cut off the handle, and I'll save that for something else. I might need it later. Now we have just this little straw part showing at the top. I'm going to remove that as well, and then we have more of a mason jar look. I'm going to be giving it a coat of Waverly chalk paint in Elephant. Now I'm going to paint over that elephant chalk paint with some DIY paint in crinoline. I am just painting the glass part of the jar, or what would be the glass part, and I'm just giving it a messy coat. Now I want to add some dimension and shadowing to the jar lid, and I am no artist by any means, so I'm just playing around with it until I can get it to look more like a metal lid. Using some more of that elephant chalk paint, I am dry brushing over the jar part. I think I did it a little too much, so I did go back with some of that DIY paint to soften it up a little bit. These 3 stamps are from IOD's Fruitful Harvest. I was kind of going for that farmhouse look where you see the cow and then the pig and the chicken on top of it, but instead I wanted to use these fruits and this acorn. So I'm just going to stamp these up with some black ink and place those down onto my jar. There's still quite a space after I do this acorn, so I do add something else there, also from the Fruitful Harvest. Next, I painted this little wood tag with the elephant paint and then topped it again with that DIY paint in crinoline. And then I'm going to be using some of IOD's Apothecary stamps to stamp on Happy Harvest. So I decided to go ahead and poke those holes back out and use this kind of rusty wire that I had to use as my hanger. Once I got it to the length that I wanted it, I just folded up those ends and just wrapped them back around that wire. If you buy anything from Iron Orchid Designs, I recommend the Apothecary stamps. They are just very handy. The letters are small enough for small projects, but large enough for larger projects. they have just really come in handy for me. I'm making a simple bow along with a little bit of raffia to tie on to the top of the jar. Once I've added the bow, I'll add the tag and rub around the edges of the jar with my black ink pad just to give it a little outline. And now this cute little fall harvest jar is finished. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to visit my friends in the playlist, and if you would like to watch another video, here's a suggestion. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.